Hello, everyone, and welcome to Awaken to Happiness Now. This is Shefali Burns. Yeah, I'm your host. I don't know what I'm saying. I have my glasses on. They're feeling weird, so it's like I'm kind of off kilter or something. But welcome to the show. I'm so excited to be here again. We're going to be talking about something totally brand new today. So new content for me, new content for you. So it's going to be exciting and new and, fun. So we have on the show today Jeff Gignac, and he's going to be talking about the 5 frequencies of manifestation. So before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about Jeff. Okay, growing up in a small town in Canada, he's a Canadian, yay! The son of a psychologist and social worker, Jeff has always displayed a passion for helping others. He was one of the youngest people in North America to be certified as a practitioner of Neuro-Linguistic Programming at the age of 15. Wow. He studied psychology at the University of Windsor for 4 years before becoming a clinical hypnotherapist and licensed master practitioner of Neuro-Linguistic Programming and a world-renowned expert in brainwave entrainment and brainwave stimulation. Jeff is a published author, writing his first book in 1999, with his most recent contribution as The Secret Skill, appearing in Adventures and Manifesting, Success, and Spirituality. Jeff is the creator of top-selling products such as the Life Response Frequencies, Goal Factory Formula, and Brain Fitness for Busy People. I think I need that. I'm a pretty busy person. Having created nearly 100 acclaimed meditation and brainwave programs, it's no surprise that Jeff is considered by today's top thought leaders as the leading creator and innovator of brainwave stimulation technology. And Jeff has created several unique and proprietary technologies that continue to revolutionize the field of brainwave entrainment and personal development. Let me tell you, we're going to be talking a lot because some of these words, it's like, what? What does this mean? So, Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here today.
And, Jeff, when we talked it feels like a couple of months ago now, we were having such a wonderful discussion, about brainwave entrainment, all of your different programs, and it's like, oh, wow, this is so much fun. This is so interesting because it's something I don't know a lot about, right? And I love learning about new programs, new things that can help me in my self-development, my growth, my business, even such simple things as how to relax more, how to be happier. So can you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do and what exactly is brainwave entrainment?
Sure. Well, brainwave entrainment and brainwave stimulation is really become my passion because of how I've seen it change lives in not only my private practice, but also in my business as I begin to make this available to everybody worldwide. And so the first thing I want to do is make a distinction between brainwave entrainment and brainwave stimulation. So brainwave entrainment is the process of using external stimulus, often light or sound, right, to stimulate the brain, to encourage the brain to enter into what is called a frequency following response. And a frequency following response is a process that the brain goes through when it matches and follows external stimulus. So if I provide an external stimulus at a certain rate and speed at a special frequency, there's a tendency for the brain to eventually match and follow that frequency pattern. That's brainwave entrainment. Brainwave stimulation, on the other hand, is the process of using that same technology, but not for the purpose of getting the brain to follow it around, right? Not for the purpose of encouraging the brain to go to a specific range, a specific dominant frequency. So brainwave entrainment, its end game is to get your brain to vibrate at a specific cycles per second, the dominant brainwave frequency. Whereas brainwave stimulation, its end game is simply to provide you with a wide range of beautiful stimulatory frequencies that we know that will help the brain respond in such a way that will produce a lot of valued outcomes, both cognitively and emotionally. So that's the distinction between entrainment and stimulation. They're both fantastic technologies, but as of late, I've been using brainwave stimulation more so because I have found that when you give the brain the option to respond, see, the brain knows how to heal itself. Mm-hmm. The brain knows what to do. It gets stuck sometimes and it needs a reminder. So by using just stimulation technology, we allow the brain to respond how it does naturally, as each of us would do individually, And that act of responding is what produces our valued outcomes. And I've been finding that this works a lot better than simply using entrainment, trying to force a brain, to vibrate at a particular cycles per second.
So how would we use this brainwave stimulation practically in our day-to-day lives? Like on our shows, we have a lot of healers, right? A lot of healers, a lot of people who are working but are not happy with their work jobs. A lot of people who have certain conditions, physical ailments and diseases and things like that. And then other people who are just stuck. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know where they're going. They're like, I should be doing something, but I'm not. I'm feeling unfulfilled. I don't know where I'm going. What should I be doing? How can these technologies help us in these day-to-day practical situations? Because yes, it sounds wonderful, but until I know practically how I can use it, it's like I don't know what it means.
Sure. Yeah. Well, let me just start with this. One of the largest problems that we face as human beings, especially today in our busy society, is feelings of stress, overwhelm, fear, and anxiety, right? And most of us have this as a part of our regular lives. And what a lot of people don't know is that these types of negative emotions, what happens is once we experience them, it constricts blood flow in the brain, specifically away from the prefrontal cortex, which is what we really need to use in order to make the best possible decisions, the best possible choices, to do the right things at the right time. If you talk, good friend of mine, John Asraf, #1 best-selling author, multi-millionaire, one of the things he says all the time is that success is about doing the right things at the right time, right? And you can't do the right things at the right time when the blood flow is constricted away from those parts of your brain that really help you do the right things at the right time. Also, when we photograph the brain, when people are under stress or fear and anxiety, we also see a lot of the times the electricity is balled up on one side of the brain or the other, and it's usually trapped spinning like a top, right? And so what happens is that you're literally choked off from accessing your full creativity, your full intuition, your full power to create and direct your life. And so the best way to use this technology on a day-to-day basis is to use it to increase blood flow in the brain, to expand it back into the prefrontal cortex, and unwind all that trapped electrical activity that's stuck on one side of the brain or the other. So what this technology does is, specifically the way that I've designed my technology, it does this better than anything else. It helps unwind all that trapped electrical activity. It helps balance the electrical flow in the brain between the right and the left side of the brain. And wherever the electricity goes, the blood flow follows, right? So it expands the blood flow, and then very quickly you're able to get yourself out of stress and overwhelm and return your brain to the function that it was meant to be, right? And you're able to go through your day being more productive, and you're able to be happy, and you're able to sidestep stress. And that is one of the biggest uses for the technology, because happiness is the new productivity. Right? Anything that you want to do. And also, we talk about manifestation too a lot of the time. I speak a lot at these groups that talk about how to manifest and how to do all these things. And the biggest problem that people face when they're trying to manifest a better life for themselves is that they're out of order. They put the cart before the horse. Have you heard that expression?
Yes.
Right? If you put the cart before the horse can't pull the cart, right? Yep. And so this is what I mean by this. There's a divine order to things that we want to manifest and create in our lives, right? And so, for example, if you were starving, right, and I gave you two options to manifest, you can either manifest food or you can manifest money. Well, when I say you only got 2 seconds to answer that, okay, you know what 90% of people say? They say money, because they do. This is what when I have people raise their hands in seminars and I say, you got to answer this really quick, they say, I want to manifest money because I can use money to buy food, but that's the wrong answer. That's
I was going to say food. Yeah, I was saying food.
Right? It sounds obvious when you think about it, but most people don't answer that way. They answer money because in their mind they say, I can buy food with money, but that's the wrong answer, because when the universe is very efficient, right? And our brains are very efficient. Our subconscious is very efficient. And so if we focus on food, what will happen is the food will come to us through the path of least resistance. Quantum physics tells us this is how the universe works, right? Law of thermodynamics, all of this comes together, and our brains work the same way. It'll come to us through the path of least resistance. That could be through getting money to buy food, but it also could be using your creativity to find another way. But if you're focused on the money, what you've done is you've actually eliminated a lot of the options for you to get food. Your only choice is to get money so you can buy food. So you've actually limited yourself, right? That's putting the cart before the horse. So there's a divine order to manifestation. And if you are trying to end a goal achievement, right? So if you're out trying to create a better life for yourself, and you're miserable all the time, you're stressful all the time, you're overwhelmed all the time, right? You're put here on earth not to be wealthy. You're put here on earth to experience and to have joy, happiness, peace, and harmony, love, compassion, and sharing with others, to elevate other people, right? And so if you don't have any of that in your life, or you're struggling to bring that into your life, you're out of order if you're shooting for the money first, right? So using this technology to help sidestep stress, overwhelm, and put your brain in balance, once that happens, then you can move to these other things that you want to manifest in your life. So those are some just very quick ways that you can use this technology to, in a practical way, to help you in your life.
And I like what you said about that. Really, our what we're here to do and be is to be joyful and have happy, productive lives. Money is, I think, the byproduct of all that. So if you're living a life that's joyful and you're happy and you're feeling satisfied, then you're going to be doing things that are going to bring the money in, because you're in that state of abundance. That is the state of abundance when you're happy and joyful, right? And when you're happy and joyful, you're doing things, more and more that bring you more and more joy, and that automatically is going to bring you more and more money. That's what I keep hearing.
Well, you make better decisions. See, again, a lot of people say, well, how can I be happy when I have all this stress and all this anguish and all this, lack in my life? Well, through happiness projects and research that's been done over the world, we can find some of the happiest people in the world actually live in the most impoverished situations in the world.
Yeah.
We can go to people that have been sentenced to life sentence on death row, that have made peace with themselves, are not guilty, like people that have, or maybe this is what they say, but yet they found a way to be happy. And as a result, they live a fulfilled lives. So yes, there's maybe things going on in your life that are making you unhappy, but your choice to be unhappy is your choice. You have the capacity to feel the way you want to feel when you want to feel it. Okay, this is the truth about your existence. Mine and yours and everybody within the sound of my voice. You have the capacity to feel the way you want to feel when you want to feel it. And so by allowing yourself to feel happiness despite what's going on around you, what you're doing is you're restoring balance to your brain. You're increasing blood flow in the brain, and now you're going to be able to make the best possible decisions. You're going to be able to do the right things at the right time. You're going to be able to access that creativity that you can't access when you're in these negative states, because the blood flow is not there, the electricity is not there. One other quick thing. A lot of people have heard about the heart brain, right? Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
One thing we know is that the heart sends way more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. It's the only organ that does that. And when we look at the heart and what it produces in terms of electromagnetic fields, it's way bigger and stronger than the brain. And so there's a lot of information coming in that some people might chalk up to intuition, right? That might, might chalk up to sort of like that sixth sense, okay? And that is sending information to the brain all the time about what's going on in us in our environment, stuff that we're not picking up consciously. But guess what? Can you hear what your heart is telling you? Well, if you're stressed and overwhelmed, fearful and full of anxiety and upset, you can't. You will be blocked. The electricity isn't there, the blood flow is not there, you will not be able to get that information. But when you're balanced, right, that you're feeling happy for no reason at all because you have the capacity to do it, then you can begin to take in that information that that heart is sending to your brain. You can hear it for the first time. And so the way that I use this technology with myself and my clients is we use it to train people's brains to be balanced, to use both hemispheres of the brain, and to constantly be in that state where we have full access to all our resources, subconscious, unconscious, preconscious, and conscious.
Wow.
And what happens is you're able to live the life you want to live, plain and simple.
And that is the goal, I think, of all, all the mystics, all the saints, all the people that live in a cave for years meditating. Their goal is to, be in that state where you're able to access all the information from all the realms and everything, and, have all the information available to you so that you can live in this world. Because it's all about living in this world. It's not really about living in a cave. The cave is great for finding that center, finding that place, that you can be in, but you still have to live in the world. I mean, as soon as a person leaves the cave, they're surrounded, bombarded by all sorts of stuff, right? So this technology would help us to be more, because it's balancing the brain, the two hemispheres of the brain. It would help us to be more centered and receive the information that we're receiving from our heart brain more easily. That's what you're saying?
From our subconscious, right?
Yep.
And from our heart and our body, all of our senses. We're able to process it more completely and thoroughly, right? And so we have access to everything, all the resources in our brain. And this is not something that we're just saying we're just saying for the fun of it. Mm-hmm. This is fact, right? When we put EEG machines on people's head and we do far infrared and we're measuring blood flow in the brain and we induce anxiety, we see what happens.
Yeah.
We see what happens, and then we give them intellectual activities to measure their cognitive abilities, and they think they're going to be fine, but when they see the results of the test, they're like, oh my goodness, I did 33% less, right? And then we induce happiness, and we take a picture of the brain, and we see what happens in the brain. And then we give them another cognitive task, and then we say, hey, they did 30 to 40% better. 30 to 40%.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
Right? Of course it's a lot. So, I mean, I ask everybody to do, and every time I have a personal client, well, the first thing we do is we do an emotional inventory. Okay, so we go through their life and we say, I take them back exactly 1 week. And sometimes I induce a little bit of a trance so we can help remember some of these things. Mm-hmm. And we go through each and every single day, and we catalog the range of emotional experiences that they feel every single day. 0 being very bad, and 10 being incredibly awesome ecstasy, right? In terms of not the sexual sense, but ecstasy in the spiritual sense, just absolutely, you can't feel any better.
Yeah.
And we track their emotional process throughout their entire week. And once we've mapped it out, people are amazed. They're like, wow, I live a really boring life. What we find is that the vast majority of people, the range of their emotional experiences hover around neutral, which would be about 5, right? Mm-hmm. And then it hovers right around that. Sometimes it goes to 6 and 7, but most of the time it's actually between 4 and 6.
Right.
Right. It's either really bad, neutral, or okay. Right. It's either, but most of the time it's not bad. You ask somebody how they're doing, and they say not bad. That doesn't mean they're feeling good. That's just the absence of bad feelings. That's neutral. You can't do anything feeling not bad. Mm-hmm. And so we map out this whole emotional inventory, and I show it to them. And I go, now do you understand why you're having trouble creating the life you want to create? Right? You have no emotional juice here. You spend most of your time either neutral, stressed, or maybe feeling all right. Yeah. So why don't we train the brain? This is what I tell them. I go, why don't we train the brain? I'm going to give you some technology, and we're going to use the concepts of neuroscience and neuroplasticity, and we're going to train your brain to operate with both hemispheres firing. So you're firing on all 12 cylinders, right? We're going to increase the cross-hemispheric communication between the hemispheres so you can use that logical side and that creative side and blend them together perfectly. And we're going to expand the blood flow in the brain so your prefrontal cortex has everything it needs to think and to be clear, right? And then we're going to see what happens. See, when you use this technology to do that, it's like working out, right? So every time you use it, it's like building a muscle group, right? Mm-hmm. Building muscle fibers. And once those muscle fibers are created, well, they're permanent. They can atrophy if you don't use them over the time, but they stay there. They work for you. And that's the beauty of this technology, because you could use it as a workout tool to strengthen your brain. And over time, your brain will simply just function in this natural, beautiful, balanced state, right? More than it doesn't. And so it's I call it passive brain fitness technology, because it works out your brain passively. It builds your capacity to live a balanced life. and be in control of your emotions.
So, can you give us some examples of some of your clients who have been using this technology and how it has affected their lives or changed their lives? Or because I'm just curious. I haven't tried it. I've listened to a few of the tracks because just to see what it was like. But like if people are using this on a regular basis, because you said over time, right? Because there is no quick fix. Some people are looking for a silver bullet, to a magic pill, right, to fix everything all at once. Things do take time, right, for the synapses to start firing properly, for the two hemispheres to work in conjunction with each other, right, to be in balance. It doesn't always happen right away. So can you just give us some examples of how it works?
Sure. Well, let me start by saying this. The vast majority of people that use this technology that I've created will feel a positive shift in the way they think and feel the very first time they use it. The vast majority. Sometimes it'll take maybe 1 or 2 tries, but the vast majority of people, if they're really paying attention, will feel a positive shift the very first time they use it. For some people, it's subtle. For some, it's a little stronger. And for some, it's big bang results right away. But those actually are the minority.
Yeah.
Okay? For most people, it usually starts off subtle. Then as you continue, but you'll feel it the first time. And as you continue to use it, the results become more profound. Think of this. When you go to the gym, do you reach your health goals for only one workout?
No, that's why I don't go.
Right. That's why you don't go, right? Usually you have to go a couple times to reach your health goals. Well, it's the same thing here with your brain, right? And so you invest in your brain and you build a better life. That's the bottom line. Here are some of the results that people have got. I just got an email yesterday from a lady that said, and she was looking at a program called the 10-Minute Turnaround, and that uses my passive brain fitness technology. And she was also using the life response frequencies, which is the most widely acclaimed program that I have. And she said, it's amazing. I've spent thousands of dollars, and I can show you this email. It was actually on my support forum, so people that are a member could actually read it, I think. She said, I spent thousands of dollars over the last few years on all these different programs, and I've had more results in the last 3 days than I've had in the last 3 years on something that cost me $100. Right? Absolutely amazing. And this was in terms of her fear and anxiety. She was going to get rid of it. Something very personal to me. My mother has been suffering with generalized fear and anxiety for over 3 years. She has had access to the best and the best in the world, right? Multiple six figures in everything from the best psychologists to you name it, EFT, quantum technique. I could go on forever. Nothing seemed to work with her, and no one really could figure out why. And of course, she had the best brainwave entrainment technology, and that didn't even work for her.
Yeah.
But since November of this year, I developed a new aspect of this technology. It's called passive brain fitness. It's a new element to this technology that I've discovered and I've added to my products. And I said, Mom, you got to come down. She almost died, by the way. We had to rush her to a specialty clinic. This is the true price of fear and anxiety, right? It started to, you produce so many negative chemicals in the brain, it starts to shut down the organs and everything. It was terrible. But after the specialty clinic in Sudbury was able to sort of bring her back, I said, Mom, you got to come down. I perfected this new aspect of my technology. We're going to see if we can desensitize one of your strongest triggers. And I've got a whole video series where I take the whole thing with me working with my mom, with doing this, and I had an EEG machine on her head, so you could actually see her brain waves and how she was responding to the technology in real time. And inside 15 minutes, we were able to desensitize one of her strongest triggers of fear and anxiety that nothing has ever worked, that over 6 figures in specialty therapy was not able to handle. We were able to do that in 15 minutes. That's the power of the technology. On my website, under user reviews, I've posted a tiny fraction of the testimonials that have come in, and I literally get thousands a year, but most of them are so long and so intimate. They're literally letters. I can't post them all because they're intimate details, but we've got everything from making more money in 3 months than they did in the last 3 years because they've been able to open up and be creative. We've got one lady called me on the phone and she said, I was ready to kill myself because of major depressive disorder and nothing has worked. I used your life response frequencies for 2 weeks and my life has changed. It
Wow.
turned around. She called me on the phone to tell me that. We've had another lady that took my Goal Factory program and my Life Response Frequency program at the same time, and we did this whole webinar, and she called in and she said, I've been on, I think it was Paxil, for 20 some odd years. With your program, I was able to get off this drug, right, that I've been on for over 20 years, right, and be free of it and be in control of my life and my emotions. And we have another gentleman who, through traumatic brain injury, hadn't spoken his wife's name in over 11 years. Through using the technology I've created, I think it took about 3 months, he finally spoke his wife's name for the first time in 11 years.
Oh my goodness, that must have been so emotional.
Yeah, and I can just keep going, right? I mean, I literally get thousands of these, and they're across the board. And, you know, there's some that are a lot less, you know, there's some average everyday ones, and there's ones that are just, you know, that tear at your heartstrings, that pull at them, that overwhelm you, because you see the shift and the transformations in person's lives. But that's how important your brain is. You know, when we don't realize how much we're under attack every single day. We're under attack from our media. We're under attack from our work, the negativity from other people. Our brains are being flooded with terrible negative programming almost every moment and every day. And the way that we've sort of evolved with social media, right, has also done a lot of great things, but it's also done a lot of bad things.
Yes.
Because now we've actually trained ourselves to be ADD a lot of the time, because, you know, I want to know something, instant gratification. I've got my phone with me, my home phone with me, my computer. Every 5 seconds I'm checking something else. Well, guess what that does? You do that over time, enough times, you actually train, you actually give yourself symptoms of ADD, even if you don't have it. So and so
it's true, and sometimes, you know, that phone keeps flashing, you know, like the notification on your phone keeps flashing, and you have to look. You know, it's like, I can't not look. You know, it's like, oh.
And all of this is training people's brains to work in a way that it wasn't meant to work. Right? And this is why I think so many people have had to experience so many beautiful changes with this technology, because what it does is that you take 10, 20, 30 minutes, whatever time you have. A lot of times you can get it done in 10 minutes with what I have. And you flood your brain with beautiful, conscious, subconscious programming, frequencies, and you restore balance. You do something great for yourself. And your brain is so important to your life, to your emotional health, to your cognitive health, to your ability to succeed. And so, you know, when people take that time to invest in their brain, right, they start to see results. They start to see their lives transform, especially if they stick with it and they really have great goals to focus on, right? Because suddenly, when their brain comes back to them and they rediscover their beautiful brain, right, all of a sudden the goals that they set for themselves, they become easier, right? And they start to succeed for the first time.
Yeah, and I love how you said if they stick with it. You know, so many people, they try something and then they don't give it enough time. You know, they just quit on it and say, oh, this doesn't work, you know, and then they try something else. Oh, this doesn't work. Oh, nothing works for them, right? And they say, nothing works for me. But it really is a matter of just sticking to one product or project or program and trying it out for a while and seeing, you know, at least 3 months and then say, yes or no, you know, but you can't just try it for a couple of days and say it doesn't work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like, again, do you reach your health and fitness goal by going to the gym one time?
No.
Right? Do you learn how to play the guitar by one lesson? Right? So anything that's important to you, you got to own it, right? So if your brain health is important to you, you got to own it. You got to take responsibility and go for it, right? Just like anything in life.
Absolutely. So tell me, Jeff, how has this technology changed your life?
Well, it's made an amazing difference in my life. I was diagnosed with ADD. I took a test that has a 0.07% error coefficient, and what that means, it's never wrong. You can't fool it. You can't mess with it. It's only going to be wrong 0.07% of the time, which makes it one of the most reliable tests. And it scored me as completely ADD. on all four, ADHD, sorry, on all four levels. And in using the technology, I've been able to mitigate all those symptoms, every single one of them. Now, I mean, at first, I had to use the technology once, twice a day to really help slow those symptoms down. Now, I use it once, I can use it once or twice a month to do the same thing. Now, I use the technology almost every single day because I love it, I create it. Now, one of the ways that I have, for instance, on the life response frequencies, I have a track called Energy and Enlightenment. This stimulates gamma brainwave activity, which is a very fast brainwave activity that enhances intuition, that enhances your ability to process sensory data, boosts your mental performance. Right? You'll actually, if you take an IQ test after you've had gamma stimulation, you'll actually score higher. Right? That's how much it improves the way your brain works. I have 10-minute sessions there before I have to be at my best. Right? Maybe I'm in the meeting of a lifetime. Maybe whatever it is, I put that on for 10 minutes. Right? And it supercharges my brain. And for the next couple hours, I'm going to be functioning at a level that's higher than if I didn't do it. Right? So that's ways that you can use this on demand. You get these 10-minute tracks, 10-minute videos that you can just plug in and use on demand when you're going to need it the most. Now, sometimes before bed, if I have a crazy day, there's so much activity and so much good news, and something about good news, man, just really revs me up, you know? And I get a lot of good news in my life, right? So sometimes I'm so excited, I go, but I got to get to sleep. I gotta get to sleep, right? So I pull out my Health and Vitality Essentials that has a delta and sub-delta frequencies that is proven that when you listen to it, this is clinical research, it shows beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you play this before you go to sleep, the quality of your sleep will be better, it'll be deeper. You'll enter in deep delta sleep, which is where your health and vitality come from. As we age, our ability to enter this deep delta sleep actually diminishes over time. And as somebody approaching my mid-40s, this is something I have to start to think about. So I use this. It helps drop me down into a nice, peaceful state, and it ensures that the sleep that I do get is going to be of the absolute best quality.
Interesting. So for somebody like me, who I'm slowly getting older too, if I were to just start listening to that before I go to sleep, I will, potentially stop the aging. This could be one of those anti-aging miracles, right?
It sometimes behaves like that. I had a lady in her 70s that gave it to her husband, and she said he's starting to get frisky again, and she was upset at me. She says, I don't know what to do with him. He's in his 70s, and some of his vigor is coming back. And I said, well, why don't you listen to it too, right? Then
absolutely.
And what she was listening to was something that I created years ago. It was one of the first products I ever created. It was called the Perfect Sleep System. Now I have Vital Sleep Essentials, which is the upgrade in technology. It wasn't designed to do that, but as somebody gets into that restorative process, see, listen, it's not going to stop the aging process. I wish it would. Right? Yeah. But one of the things that we do know is this, is when we don't get into that deep delta part of our sleep cycle, our ability to handle inflammation goes down. That's part of the job of our limbic system when we get into that deep delta sleep. And as we age, sometimes it doesn't happen. And what happens is that the limbic system doesn't get into what's called parasympathetic recovery, which is where it deals with inflammation. Well, if you do research on disease and aging and all these things that really hurt us, we know that almost everything at its root comes from inflammation. Right? At a cellular level, you know this. Anybody who knows their stuff knows this, right? Cancer included. So getting into that deep delta sleep in that cycle is critically important, right? So using this technology to ensure that you can do that is certainly going to do a lot of good for you over time.
So, a practical application. On Saturday, I'm going to be attending an event where I'll be speaking, right? So I'll be speaking for 30 minutes. It's like, oh, there's going to be, 100 people. So I was like, oh my goodness. So I'm a little bit nervous because I haven't done this before. So for me, in the morning, it would be beneficial for me to listen to one of those tracks that's going to give me more energy, my brain is going to function properly so that I can get the information out that I want to get out, right? And be confident and things like that. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'll tell you what I do in those situations, because I come across, sometimes I've got to be on stage and we're talking to thousands of people, and it's, I know what it can be like. So this is what I do. I put on something called the Life Supercharger. And this is also from my Life Response Frequencies collection. What it is a 10-minute version of the 5 core modules. Okay. And they're mixed all together. So you get, what happens is that the first module is called Happiness Essentials, right? So it stimulates and encourages the brain to produce feel-good brain chemicals, okay, that support happiness. And we know happiness is a new productivity. You want to be at your best. You want to make sure your brain is balanced and functioning and humming with happiness. Right. Then it goes into the next stage, which is called Prosperity and Abundance Essentials. That's Module 2, the Life Response Frequencies. And understand this, I called it Prosperity and Abundance Essentials, not money and gold essentials, right? There's a reason. Prosperity and abundance is a state of being. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of approaching things. It's characterized by access to unlimited amounts of creativity. People that are prosperous and abundance are always moving forward with creativity and excitement. So that's what that's about. So we stimulate your brain into those frequency ranges. And then the next stage is Peace and Harmony Essentials, right? Which goes into that delta range a little bit. Not deep delta, but it touches a lot of that low theta delta range, which really helps center yourself, right? And become at peace within yourself, comfortable in your own skin. And then it flows into Module 4. This is the Life Supercharger. It flows into Module 4, which is Health and Vitality Essentials, which is deep delta and sub-delta stimulation, which puts you in this deep, deep, meditative, relaxation, peaceful state. Now, at that point in time, getting up on stage would be hard. Yes. We've dropped you down. But what happens next is it flows right into Module 5, which is Energy and Enlightenment Essentials, and brings you right up through that gamma range. So when you're done, you've experienced the stimulatory frequencies through all 5 modules in 50 minutes, and when you're done, you're going to be ready to take on that world, and they won't know what hit them. Because you have to experience it for yourself, just to get all the benefits of all 5 modules in 50 minutes. Yeah. Amazing. Oh,
wonderful. Yeah, it sounds. I'm just thinking of all the different applications. For example, if someone is wanting to write a book, right? They want to write a book, and they're having that writer's block, and they're like, it's in my head, I can't get it on paper, I don't know what I'm writing, and they sit there in front of a computer and it's like, nothing's coming, it's like nothing's coming out.
Prosperity and Abundance Essentials followed by Energy and Enlightenment Essentials. Pair those 2 together, 20 minutes. Use the 10-minute versions, 20 minutes each, right? It'll sharpen your creativity and then give you access to that higher order thinking, right? That's how I would do that for creativity when trying to write a book.
So let's say, we have a lot of healers, right, on our shows, and a lot of the healers are not making a lot of money. But they love what they do, and they love being of service, they love healing, but they need to live in this world and function and pay the bills and have food on the table. Is there something that can help the healers really be more of who they are and attract the clients that they're looking for?
Well, the Life Response Frequencies is designed to help bring in happiness, peace, prosperity, energy, enlightenment, all that stuff. So with all that energy and all stimulating your brain that way, allowing the heart to connect to the brain that way will certainly help. But one of the things that I recommend is something that I call Goal Factory, which is a program that I offer on the site, and actually, I believe we're giving it away free when people purchase the Life Response. Actually, we are. I just saw my assistant flash. Yes, it's free when you buy Life Response. Okay, so when you buy Life Response Frequencies, it comes with it. And Goal Factory is a program that I developed for myself in the beginning when I was experiencing what you're just talking about. It's like, wow, I love doing what I'm doing, but where's the money? What is it that I'm not, what am I missing here? Right? And what it does, a lot of times what we do, people that are really passionate about what they do, they find it hard to set goals for money. They find it hard to do some of the business aspects of things that they really need to do. to take it to the next level, to do those right things at the right times in regards to their business. And as a result, they don't get anywhere. They just spin their wheels because they find it is a source of stress. It's a source of overwhelm. Right? What Goal Factory does is it helps you chunk it down in such a way that it becomes these really simple, easy steps that you do every day that doesn't take a lot of time but gets you closer to where you want to go. And one of the great things about this program is it helps people sort out a lot of the conflicts. See, a lot of the time people will have desires to make more money, but in their mind, the way that they language it, the way they explain it to themselves, actually causes conflicts on a subconscious level. And it's one of the and then as a result, as they start to succeed a little bit, self-sabotage and all of a sudden an illness comes, and it's the subconscious brain going, no, 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 you're not doing this right, right? But that's what's happening. So one of the biggest reasons that healers and things and people that do this activity fail is because the way that they're trying to approach the business aspect is actually out of balance with something subconsciously. And Goal Factory really helps to flush all that out and bring it to the surface through this very unique process. The other thing that Goal Factory does that's absolutely incredible, it helps people take advantage of the most powerful force on earth. And it's, well, maybe it's not the most powerful force on earth, but in terms of goal achievement, it certainly is, and it's called momentum. See, a lot of times healers are very gentle, sweet, kind, loving people, but oftentimes they lack confidence in everything else in their life except for what they do really well.
Right. Yes.
Right. So when you ask them, can you do this? Can you really make a thriving business on this? They'll say, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm shaking my head. No. They'll actually, you'll see the incongruence in them. So the program actually helps address that and sort that out. And it helps people build confidence by doing, see, you can do all the subconscious programming you want in the world. You can listen to hypnosis tapes, you can go to therapies, you can do everything else, and it can work for you, right? It can work for you to help your self-confidence in those areas. But let me tell you, and hear me well, nothing will do a better job at fixing your self-confidence issues than if you deliberately and consciously set a goal and then do what's required to achieve it. One contrary piece of evidence that you can serve your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, your preconscious mind, that contradicts all your negative programming about your self-confidence will do more for you faster than any subliminal programming or any other thing that you can do for your life. Does that make sense?
Yes,
the brain moves
absolutely.
very fast. So what Goal Factory does is it helps you set up these little small successes, right, that you set up consciously. And so you set it up, and you take these steps, and you succeed. And you provide, what you're doing is you're giving your subconscious mind evidence to the contrary to all that bad program that said you couldn't do it. Right? And it fixes things so fast. It realigns your confidence in yourself in terms of your business aspects very quickly. And then what Goal Factory teaches you to do is to build on each little success. Right? So, like, what Goal Factory does is that you're always reaching for low-hanging fruit. I show you how to set goals, so every single goal you go for is low-hanging fruit. And what does that mean? It means it's easy. All you do is you lift up your arm and you grab it, and you've got it. But guess what? You're now a foot taller.
Right.
Right? And so the next time you go for low-hanging fruit, you're actually a foot up the tree than you were the first time. And then the next time you go for low-hanging fruit, you're always going for low-hanging fruit, but you're climbing this ladder.
Right.
And you're getting access to the better fruit at the top of the tree every single time. And so this is why Goal Factory is such a marvelous program for people to use in combination with this technology.
Now, Jeff, one of the things you mentioned a couple of times is about the subconscious, right? And so I just want to be clear that we're talking about the same thing. You know how you know, in this whole industry, everyone's talking about limiting beliefs, right? Limiting beliefs and thought patterns and so on and so forth. And some of this stuff we don't know because it's in our subconscious and we're not aware of it. Is that what you're talking about too when you're saying that things from your subconscious come up, and then by using these programs you're able to get past those that programming, that subconscious programming that we've had in our heads for so long, sometimes eons, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. All you've got to do is purposely set up situations that contradict that negative programming.
Right.
So as you become aware of some of this negative programming, you can plan to set something up for yourself that provides contrary evidence to that negative programming. And it only takes one time, right? One powerful time to negate a lifetime of negative programming that you may have received as a child because your parents said, "What do you think, we're made out of money?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that it grows on trees? What do you think that, all that stuff can be washed away, right, if you plan to use the program on purpose in that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Interesting. Because, you're right. We do have a lot of programming from our childhood, from ancestral beliefs, as well as societal and cultural beliefs, right? So, and some of those things, like the ancestral stuff, some of those things we're not even aware of, right? I don't know, but there's and sometimes we have a feeling there's something blocking me. I don't know what it is, but there's something. I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do, and I'm still not getting what I want. I'm still not achieving that success that I want, or I'm still not finding my soulmate, or I don't know, something health related. It's like I'm doing everything and nothing is working, and it's mostly because of those subconscious beliefs and beliefs in the unconscious too, right?
Right. And so you have to plan to get rid of those. To the best of your ability. So there's some unknown ones, but as you start working in this area, some of the unknowns will come up, right?
Yeah.
And you have to plan to get rid of them, and the best way to do that is to create for yourself something that is in the if you believe you can't do something and then suddenly you do it, your brain goes, oh, well, I guess that was a crappy belief, right? So you actually plan, and you have to work at it, right? You got to map some of this stuff out. Right, using paper and pen and stuff, and I show you how to do that in Goal Factory. But it helps you to purposefully dig inside and remove a lot of that crap.
Yeah.
My language, but that's what it is.
It is crap, absolutely, because it's limiting us. It's stopping us from really living the lives that we would like to live. So yeah, it's crap for sure. I don't think crap's a bad word. Okay, so. Remember when we had our wonderful discussion when we talked? We were supposed to talk for like 5-10 minutes, and it ended up being an hour, because we were just having so much fun chatting. Some of the other stuff that we talked about, that I'm interested in, and I know that a lot of our listeners are interested in as well, is reaching higher states of spiritual growth, right? Higher states of consciousness, Right. And being more centered and being more connected to our higher self, connected to our angels and guides and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. So can your program also help with that? Because, like some of us have been meditating forever, and it's like, oh, still not there, still not where I want to be. Well,
we're in this physical body, right? And sometimes I refer to it very coldly as a meat suit. Okay?
Yeah.
But we're in this meat suit, and as a result, this is what we have. We have our mind and our bodies to connect with what's out there in the universal consciousness. And our cells and our electromagnetic fields all have the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
But the thing that's usually in between from us really accessing all of that knowledge that's out there is the way that our brain functions. I talked about this earlier in terms of the heart brain and all the information that it's able to gather, but can we hear it? Can we process it? Well, when we're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, we can't. When blood flow is restricted, we can't. There's areas of our brain that we don't even know what they do, yet when people are experiencing these wonderful spiritual moments of ecstasy, we see it light up in all these different ways. But it'll never happen if you can't get the blood flow there.
Right.
Yes. And you'll keep hearing me talk about blood flow and why. Think about when we have an injury in your physical body. What's the first thing the therapist does? Let's get the blood in there. Let's get the because it's what takes the toxins out and the byproducts of metabolism out, and what brings the oxygen, what brings the healing, the nutrients, and all that stuff. And the same thing goes for every corner of your brain. And most of us are living our lives with this constricted blood flow and constricted electrical activity, and we're literally starving aspects of our brains to death because it doesn't have proper blood flow, it doesn't have proper electrical activity.
Yeah.
Right? So by restoring that and doing things that will help you get balanced brain activity, I think automatically is going to help you connect better. Now, there's one more thing, and I believe I talked to you about this when I think it was part of the reason we had this hour-long conversation, and I'll bring it up here. I don't talk about this that often because the circles that I play in are usually very scientific, right? And so when I start talking a little, spiritual-wise, I lose people, right? Because these are people who just live in that way. But right now, we're coming to an area where science and spirituality are beginning to explain each other.
Yes.
Right? And so it's a really amazing, exciting time to be alive. Well, there's one particular program called Life Response Frequencies that I created that is very different and very special from a lot of the other things that I've created, and it's special in this way. What I have to do is I have to take you back about 7 or 8 years when I was mentoring under a woman called Elizabeth Peya Butler. She's one of the top master trainers in the NLP in the world, and she's Toronto, Ontario. You ever want some great NLP training, this is where you need to go, because she's also one of the strongest, most connected spiritual people I have ever met in my life. And I used to spend part of my life debunking this stuff, and she has totally changed my life around in what she's been able to show to me. There's no doubting her ability to connect in this way, and to her guide group, her angels. Now, her friend Norma, has this even stronger than she did, or that she does. And I believe it was about 7 or 8 years ago, I was working, I used to own a web development firm, and I used to own I didn't do any of the web development, I just owned the company, right? But, and it represented 90% of my income at one point in time in my life, until I said, this is too stressful, I don't want any part of it anymore. And I just demolished the entire business.
Right.
That's another story, right? But, which was the best thing I ever did, by the way. But in that time, Elizabeth said, well, you have these resources in this company. Can you help my friend Norma bring this project to fruition called Life Response? And it was this online interface with all these different colors that people would go on, and they would do this activity, and it was designed to actually help bring in peace, prosperity, happiness, and health energy. And Norma and Elizabeth explained to me that it was energized by this special guide group that and you can interchange that with angels or whatever, that their purpose is to find ways to bring in peace, prosperity, happiness, and health energy into the world to help increase it and balance it in other people. And Life Response was one of these mechanisms that they had chosen to do that through Norma. And so I helped build this whole platform and get it out into the world. And I'll tell you, what we saw was absolutely amazing, because I got to see some of the testimonials coming in. At first, I believed it because I believed in these two women, but there was a part of me that still doubted a little bit, right? Yeah. But when I saw what happened to people's lives as they were logging into this interface and what they said, I was like, oh my, that's it. This is the most legit thing in the world. Even though I don't understand it, there's absolutely something happening here. Well, she got old, she retired, the whole project was shut down. A couple years ago, I'm beginning to design what is now known as Life Response Frequencies, but I'm going to call it Mastering Meditation. And I'm really happy with the name. Since then, Elizabeth and I have become really close friends. She was a teacher and a mentor, but now we're really close friends. And anytime I've got stress in my life that I'm having trouble managing, and yes, sometimes it happens to me too. I mean, I'm not perfect. I use the technology to help me whenever I can, but once in a while something happens, right? Right. We wouldn't be human if it didn't. And she calls, like psychically. She calls. She goes, "Hey Jeff, what's up?" Right? She said automatically. So anyway, I'm working on this Mastering Meditation project. I'm creating the technology, and I get this burst. I don't know how to describe it. It was like an explosion in my brain that said, call it life response frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, I can't do that, especially because that was Norma's project called Life Response, and
Exactly.
pardon me, and so I just ignored it. Day after day, the feeling got stronger and stronger until it actually woke me up at night, and it was causing stress in my life because I couldn't get this thought and idea out of my head. And then Elizabeth calls. Phone rings. So, Jeff, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, I said, listen, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say no way, right, to this, but I keep getting the feeling to call this project that I'm working on Life Response Frequencies, but I know that was a sacred name, and it represented the guide group and what the energy was bringing in, so I know I can't do it, but I just can't shake the feeling. And she went silent. And usually that means bad news for me, because she's a mentor of mine, even though she's a good friend, usually when she goes silent, I'm about to get a butt kicking. Right?
Right.
But she went silent, and she came back and she said, well, the guides told me that they now want to use this project as an instrument for them to bring in peace, prosperity, happiness, and health energy to help balance it and increase it in people that use the product. And I was, what? Why me? Why? I had all these questions,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I still don't know. I still don't have the answers to any of those things.
Right.
But that's something very special about the Life Response Frequency Project. And the one thing I can tell you is the testimonials that come in are of a different nature. I mean, I get great acclaim through all my products, and some of my products do amazing things. But the nature of the testimonials that come in for the Life Response Frequencies are a little different. They're a little special. They talk about things that are very different. And so I've met a lot of psychic people and ESP people and people that can use pendulums and test yes and no. And every single one I've asked for, please test, is what I say about life response frequencies true? Is it in fact bringing in this universal energy of peace, prosperity, happiness, and consciousness? And every single one of them that has been able to test, it's really good at testing yes and no, has said yes, absolutely what you say is true. So
wonderful.
In that sense, I guess that would be able to help people connect more, to those areas of their lives.
Absolutely. And on this show we have quite a few people that come on that are channels of different groups, that are channeling the energy from different groups. So we are quite familiar.
Have them tested. Have your groups go to the website, look at the life response frequencies, and ask the people. If you interact with some of these groups, say if you can get yes or no answers, have them tested. If what I'm saying true is that there's peace, prosperity, happiness, and health energy coming through the individual modules, that is not just technologically related. Right.
Yeah, and because that's something that I was wondering about. It's like I don't quite. I mean, intuitively, yes, I can understand it, but when you try to wrap your head around it, you just can't. It's like how do they do that? How does it happen? But intuitively, I know it does because I've talked to many people about this, and I myself, when I do a process or something, I can call in these frequencies and I can feel them working and coming in, right? So it's like, yeah, I know it's happening. I just don't know. I just don't understand how it works. The mechanics of it, but it's happening. I totally believe it, and because it does exist, and these frequencies are from the highest frequencies possible, so it's not a low frequency of love, it's not a low frequency of vitality, these are higher frequency items that are coming in, they're not negativity, and they're not, it's all good and it's all positive, and it's what the world needs right now. What people need right now is more of these frequencies of happiness and health and prosperity. And if only we could, get more and more people to understand and receive, because sometimes people are not open to receiving. Oh, what do you mean? There's energy coming in from where? Where is it coming from? Right? Like they just can't wrap their heads around it, and then is it possible that they block themselves off a little bit?
Pardon me, I think so. I think sometimes people can block themselves out. And again, though, I believe it's with negativity. is that they block people out. You have to consistently ask that your own physical vibration be increased so you can receive that. You have to work and do whatever you can that you can do to get your brain in that place, to get your body in that place that you can receive that energy. Right? If you're nowhere close in vibration to it, you can't be elevated by this energy because you're just too far apart. Yeah. Right? So it's our job to not only ask that our vibration be increased, but it's also our job to get ourselves as close as we can by any means we can. Yeah. I mean, positive means. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Positive legal means, absolutely, because and that is also one of the focuses of my platforms. It's about raising our vibrations to match higher frequencies, so that we can be, light bodies filled with more and more light and in these higher frequencies, instead of being stuck in the negativity and the humdrum of life and not moving forward. Because the more higher frequencies we're able to bring into our beings, the more we can grow more easily, because we're all going to grow, we're all going to evolve, but wouldn't you rather evolve with more ease than more challenge, right? So it's about how can we do that with more ease, right? Because right now there's a lot of energies that are coming onto the planet. There's a lot of in the past couple of months, the energies have been so up and down and erratic, and like just so much stuff happening, that if we're not able to really center and meditate and raise our vibration every day and clear these negative programmings every day, we are challenged by it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really true. And one thing I have noticed too that's really important is a lot of people seem to think that they can't have it all. Right? A lot of people get stuck and say, I got to focus on the money right now because this is where the urgency is. This is where the importance is. I'll worry about the health later. I'll worry about the happiness later. I'll worry about this. And that doesn't work, right? You have to plan to have a fully fulfilled life that includes peace, harmony, prosperity, abundance, happiness, energy, enlightenment, love. You have to plan to have all of it. And because if you don't plan to have all of it, you're actually slowing yourself down, right? You're actually slowing yourself down. There was a great book that came out not too long ago. It's called Change Anything, and it was this group of researchers studied all these people that get stuck in one area of their life or the other. And what they found is that, let's say somebody is stuck in the prosperity area of their life. If they suddenly started to focus on the happiness area of their life, both would go up.
Right.
Right? So when you're stuck in one area, it might be because you're actually neglecting other areas that are important for your fulfillment. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right? So you need to pay attention to all those things that make you a complete person, that help you live a happy and fulfilled life. Because if you ignore them, what may happen is that some of the areas that you think are urgent and that are really important that you want to succeed in might actually start to slow down.
No,
right?
That's really interesting. Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
backed by scientific research.
No, I believe it. I keep getting this message this week. All week long I've been getting this message about being happy or being at peace or being balanced, in all areas of my life, and not just focusing on the one, and being stressed out. I keep getting this message over and over again this week. So it's been interesting, because you're right. I'm one of those people who focuses on one thing. It's like, oh, everything else in my life is fine except for this one area, so I'm just gonna focus on that. And then disregard everything else. I'll just ignore everything else. Like, I'll play when I have time, when I got this figured out. I'll relax when I have this figured out, and that's not how it works.
No, it doesn't. You might be able to focus and power through a few things in the beginning, but in the long run, you're actually going to harm your overall progress, and this is what the science shows.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm seeing that in my life. So it's been a wake up call this week, just learning about this, and it's like, so this week I've been like, okay, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna take time for myself. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna have fun. I'm just gonna, and work, on certain things. But I'm also going to do this as well. So and this week has been really good since I've made that conscious choice and decision.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's been like I had stressful moments and situations, but I wasn't as stressed as I normally would have been, So it is so true. It's just like I'm
You're
gonna
more in the flow.
yeah, I'm more in the flow, and I'm having a better time with it, So it's like it's been good, and it was a good wake up call, and it really showed me where I need to focus on, It's like, yeah, I'm gonna focus on what makes me happy, and then when I'm in that moment where I'm happy, just focus on that. Don't worry about the other stuff. The other stuff will be fine. You can still, like when you're in that moment, just be in that moment. So one of the things I started this week was I started walking, every day. Today is the third day. I'm doing a 21-day thing, right?
Awesome.
So I started, today was the third day, and so I go out for a walk with my daughter, and it's been wonderful. It's like, I'm going for the walk to connect with my body and to be more physical and things like that. But I'm realizing that when we're out walking, we're having such a great time. We're chatting, we're laughing, we're joking. It's wonderful, And it's like, oh, what a bonus, And
Pardon me.
that part of my life, being with her and playing and joking and whatever, is a good space. I love it, right? And so if I can focus more on that, then the other stuff hasn't been that stressful.
Yeah.
So it's like,
better.
yeah, I'll do better. So it's like it's all good. But yeah, the more we can focus on the good and the positive and being balanced, the better it will be for us. But you're right. Sometimes when we can't do it consciously because we're just so in our heads and thinking negative thoughts and just worried and just we can't even focus properly. We're not able to be clear-headed, then your program, I think it's, sometimes it's only 10 minutes a day, right, that we listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly use it up to. You can use the technology up to 2 hours a day. I don't recommend any more than that because one of the things that we do know is that it does encourage new neural pathway growth between the right and left sides of the brain, and you need to give your brain some time to really strengthen those new neural pathways. Yeah. Because it actually does require a certain amount of nutrition and a certain amount of things to grow and strengthen those pathways. So you don't want to overdo it. But once you get into it, using it 10 minutes a day, something from the life response frequencies, I'll do anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes a day on a regular basis. And if you can do that, you will find over time a big shift in the way that you think and feel and the way that you operate in your life. And I recommend that everybody take a journal, right, and really catalog their emotional every week. At the end of every week, whether you explore my technology or not, every week do this one thing for yourself. At the end of the week, do an emotional inventory, like I described earlier, right, of your week, and grade it all the way through, and just look at it, and then say, how am I going to do better this week? How am I going to do better this week? Right? Do that. But when you have the technology to help you out, you can start to say, hey, you know what? Here's a pattern. I'm going to start using the technology for 10 minutes at this area of the day so I can gradually train my brain out of this negative habit that seems like every day at this time I seem to sink into a bad place or I get overwhelmed. So I'm going to plan ahead of time to use the energy and enlightenment essentials or the peace and harmony essentials at this particular time. And then as you do that, you train your brain naturally to function better at that time over time. Right?
Yeah.
Again, so it's like working out your brain.
Yeah. So it's a co-creative process. So it's not just it's not just sitting there and listening to the tracks. It's about listening to the tracks, but also taking a look at your life, your day-to-day life, and what's happening with your emotions, and being responsible and in charge of that. Instead of being carried away by emotions and not even realizing what's happening. This is really being aware of what's happening every day with your emotions. That is key. That is so important.
Absolutely, and so that's why I recommend the emotional inventory. You don't need to do it, but I'll tell you, you'll go farther and faster if you do.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you use the technology according to what you track.
Yeah, because sometimes, we just live our days remotely, or what's the word I'm looking for exactly, but
Almost on
not
autopilot, right?
autopilot. Exactly, on autopilot. We have no idea what's going on. We don't even know we don't even know what we're thinking, and let alone what we're feeling, and how often we're feeling that way, or how often we're having some of these thoughts. So the more and more we can be aware of that, the more present we'll be as well.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I just think it's fascinating, and I think it's so important that our left and right brain hemispheres are more in balance and talking to each other, and then having the blood and energy flow to the brain, and which is going to, create new neural pathways. I mean, I can see just so much potential there.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
it keeps your brain healthy, just like any part of your body. If you have restricted blood flow because of disease or injury to any area of your body, you know that's bad,
yeah.
right? You know it's bad, right? But we do it to ourselves and our brain every day through our emotional experience, right? So, I mean, if you want to take care of your brain, right?
Yeah.
And I think most people do, and they want to be the best that they can be, you got to take steps. Bottom
Oh,
line.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's talk about these actual special offer, because we haven't really talked about the offer yet. So if you're on the phone, you can go to awakentohappinessnow.com/Jeffrey, Jeffrey. If you're on the webcast page, you can just click on the speaker special offer. I'm just going to open it up too, because I just want to see what it says while you talk about it, Jeff. Awakentohappinessnow.com/Jeffrey, special offer for life response frequencies. Okay. So then it starts off with the video, so it really shows everybody, what it's about, right? And then it talks about the gamma, beta, alpha, theta, delta, subdelta. So there's a lot of scientific stuff, which is great for people like me who like to know, I'm curious and I like to know the facts, and I like to know the science behind stuff if I can, if I can understand it, so that part of it, I'm good. I can understand all that. And then it talks about the core benefits, the unique benefits, and then it talks about the different modules. So can you talk about I know we've been talking about it throughout the course, throughout the call so far, but can you just talk about the different modules a little bit more?
Sure. Module 1 is Happiness Essentials, right? And so it uses technology to really encourage positive neurochemical production and to shut down the stress response. Right? So it actually helps shut down the stress response. Now, if you use it and you're all stressed, right, it'll shut down the cortical production, the negative, and encourage positive brain chemicals. So, but because you have all that bad chemicals still coursing in your body, you might not feel a big bang result right away, but at least you're going to stop it. But if you use it every single day, prior to things getting really hectic in your life, you'll find that you'll be able to sidestep a lot of negative emotions. Happiness Essentials, absolutely amazing. The next one is Prosperity and Abundance Essentials, which again is all about creativity, movement, and passion. This is based on research that shows that when we stimulate certain frequency ranges in the brain, we're able to get really creative. We're able to access our subconscious resources unlike anything before. So this is a real gem in terms of anybody who wants to bring more creativity and forward movement into their life. And then again, the site will explain all of this in detail. It's all there. We also have Peace and Harmony Essentials. Now, for an 18-year-old, the level of peace and harmony that they have in their life, not such a big deal, right? They're okay with chaos and stuff like that. But as we get older, our need, and it's a need for peace and harmony in our life, goes way up. The older we get, the more important it is. And the less we have of it as we get older, the more it starts to slow down our ability to succeed in other areas of your life. This helps bring in that peace and harmony, energy, and frequencies. It helps stimulate those frequency ranges in the brain that are responsible for having those feelings, emotions of peace and harmony. It's incredible. It's implicated. It can also help you heal, deal with traumatic emotions. It can help you process out all kinds of past traumas as well when you're in those frequency ranges. The fourth module is Health and Vitality Essentials. we talked a little bit about this in depth. It really helps you get in to those really deep delta ranges that are responsible for restoring health and vitality, for getting the limbic system and the parasympathetic recovery. Also helps to heal from physical and emotional traumas. Helps increase your overall intuition. It helps increase your access to subconscious resources. Very powerful state, very powerful technology to use in the evening before you go to bed to ensure that you're waking up being the best that you can be. Fifth module is Energy and Enlightenment Essentials. Wow. This is, let's supercharge my brain and take on the world. Let's go. Right? Yeah. This is what this is about. It increases your mental performance, your brain speed. It improves your memory, your intuition as well. It helps you process sensory data much more fast. It just revs up your higher order thinking. And it's also associated with compassion, right? People that have a lot more gamma in their brain actually have a lot more compassion in their life. So this is an incredible module there. And then we have the bonus module, which is the Life Supercharger, that combines all of these in one. Right, so you get the 10-minute version of Happiness Essentials, and it's mixed into, you get all 5 modules in 50 minutes. So you get the stimulatory ranges from all 5 modules in 50 minutes. Now, an important thing to point out here is this: every module, right, comes with a 10-minute version, 20-minute version, and a 40-minute version. And each version has different entrainment and different stimulatory cycles. So even though the music and the sounds are somewhat same, the stimulatory patterns and frequencies are different, which means you get a stronger effect over time using the different versions. So if you got 10 minutes, pull out the 10-minute version. If you got 40 minutes, pull out the 40-minute version. It's all up to you. And also, each one comes with my new passive brain fitness video technology as well, which is absolutely amazing. These are 10-minute videos that you load up, put a good set of headphones on, and you watch this video, and you get the visual stimulatory frequencies and the auditory stimulation at the same time, which has been proven to be more effective. You can get a very powerful result in just 10 minutes. But I've also included what's called peripheral vision messaging that takes advantage of preconscious processing. So what we've done is, it's not subliminal. You can actually read the messages if you pay attention to them. But if you follow the instructions and you focus your eyes at the center of your video, the peripheral messages will get right into the subconscious and the preconscious mind without getting judged by the conscious mind. And as a clinical hypnotherapist, I know how to write very powerful, transformative, supporting messages that the brain just eats up, soaks up, and loves. It's a way that you can flood your subconscious and preconscious mind with positive programming in just 10 minutes to counteract all that negative stuff that comes into our lives every single day. And the science shows that using peripheral vision messaging, taking advantage of the preconscious priming, and this is what this does with these messages that come in, the science shows it has a very powerful and profound impact on your mood, your attitude, and behavior. Right? These wonderful messages that are coming in through the visual system. Absolutely incredible addition to the Life Response Frequencies collection. And as I said as well, it comes with the Goal Factory, which is sold for $145 on our website. You'll get that free for this special offer as well. And I'll tell you, Goal Factory, you know, if you're struggling, you can't. If you think you've been doing all the right things and you can't figure out why you're not getting anywhere, okay, Goal Factory is going to help flush that out, whatever the reason that is. And that's what the vast majority of people say. They go, oh my goodness, I never knew. It helps flush it out and it helps you deal with it. And so that's the special offer. It's wonderful.
Wonderful, yeah, absolutely. And I really like how there are the different versions, the 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, because sometimes, you know, you only have 10 minutes, you know? I was going to say, did I lose Jeff? Wonderful. So the special offer again is at Awaken to Happiness.
No, it sounded like we cut out for a minute.
Yeah, for a second. But I think we're good. So the special offer is at awakentohappinessnow.com/Jeffrey. So if it resonates with you, take a look at it. I have tried some of the tracks, and I really like them, and I like I like how it can help you with all areas of your life at the same time. It's not just, I don't have to just listen to one thing. I can listen to, different tracks throughout the day depending on what's going on. And sometimes, like you said, for my event on Saturday, yeah, I'm going to be listening to the Supercharger one so that I can, really get supercharged for that event and really flow, be in the flow. I like how you, give examples or, tell people how or when to listen to them. Like, for example, about right before you go to sleep, or if you've had physical or mental trauma, like you said, or to re-energize the mind body. Because sometimes that's all. Sometimes I just need something to energize me, and I don't have, an hour to take a nap or anything like that. So, 10 minutes will help to re-energize me so that I can do, whatever it is I want to do, like, for example, have a show, right?
Exactly.
So sometimes
My staff
you need
and I
that.
use this stuff every single day, and I'll tell you, you couldn't pry this stuff from my staff's hands if you tried. When they leave and go do whatever they do in their life, they won't give it up for anything. And most people that really get into it and that start using it, after they've used it for about a month, you're not taking it away from them for anything.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
It
Yeah.
becomes so powerful.
And that's the thing, try it out for a month. See how it works for you. Take, write down, do that emotional journal. Like Jeff was talking about. Write down your emotions for the week and just see where you might need one of the tracks, and then put that in place, and then see what changes. See how your life changes. It's all about being aware and being like a scientist, in a lab. You're the laboratory experiment. And being aware of what happens, right? I think we lost Jeff again for a second, but I think we'll get him back. So if this resonates with you, check it out, awakentohappinessnow.com/Jeffrey. And I think he said it's 127. Yes, 127. And of course, Jeff has a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee on the page, and you will get access to the tracks right away. I think once you purchase, you'll get a download page where you go in and register, and then you'll be able to get all the information that you need.
That's right.
Wonderful. So thank you so much, Jeff. This has been fantastic. I learned, even more today than we did when we chatted, offline. It was great, and I think this technology is something that people can really use anywhere at any time, to help all areas of their life, I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's something that people can really use in their lives to help them have better lives, be happier, have more vitality, have their health be better, and even connect more, within and center. And yeah, it was cool. So thank you.
You are so welcome. I'll come back and talk anytime. You know where to find me.
I do. Thank you. And thank you, everyone who is listening and or watching. Thank you so much, and we will be in touch with you soon. So you can go back and watch the replay or listen to the replay again. So I just want to say thank you so much for being with us, and continue to live a life filled with joy, peace, love, and abundance and happiness. Bye for now.